Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan, and I guess hello for a second time today. Yes, it's double upload day because basically I really want to talk about some wildcard stuff this week. I really want to, but also I want to make sure that I've got all my regular content as well every single day for those of you who are not wildcarding. But I do think this week is worthy of 2 wildcard videos just because there's so many people who have either already hit that wildcard button or are wanting to. So I thought today I would gather a few wildcard drafts that I have been sent. Some are from our regular 100 experts, so we can have a look at some of the drafts from people who know a little bit more what they're doing, and also some just general ones that people have sent in. So I've got 8 in total today. We're going to go through them. We're going to look at what's good and what's bad about each of them, and hopefully that's going to help you make some decisions with your wildcard teams of who you kind of want in your team, who you probably don't want in your team. So hopefully it's all going to be very useful stuff. But before we go on any further, a quick word from our sponsor today. In FPL, we're kind of often looking for those safe picks, but if you're looking for some more safe picks, today's video is sponsored by Surfshark, a VPN service that keeps your identity safe online from hackers and scammers. It's basically like installing a Chelsea defender to your PC or mobile. But not only this, Surfshark allows you to browse the internet as if you were from a different country. If you don't have access to certain football channels, for example, networks in your country, no problem. You can set your location to somewhere else using Surfshark, and now you can access it. So maybe you want to watch, Match of the Day or Sky Go from abroad. It's not working, or you're getting really annoying. This content is unavailable in your country message. Again, you can switch up the country to somewhere else, but guys, here is my favorite. If you've watched everything on Netflix and you want to unlock all the content on USA Netflix, for example, you can easily do so. So maybe you're from the USA and you actually want to see what we have on the UK Netflix. Switch those countries. You can switch those countries faster than I can switch Luke Shaw out of my FPL team using Surfshark. So protect your identity, be safe online, and access web content from around the world wherever you are. And now you can get 83% off and 3 extra months for free using promo code FPL Mate, all one word, or you can simply click on the link in my description. It really helps support the channel, and you get a great service for a heavily discounted price. And if you somehow don't like it, guys, there's also a 30-day money back guarantee, so everyone wins. Give it a go, guys. Alright guys, so let's just go straight into the first team. Don't forget guys, if you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like and do subscribe as well if you're new around here, if you like the double uploads, I suppose. But yeah, we've got our first team here from Ollie Thompson. He says that he's pretty nailed on 9 players, but he's got a slight doubt about whether he wants to go for Walker and Benrahma or Tierney plus Zaha. So actually, yeah, does he want to go for the current option, which is Tierney and Zaha on the field right now, or does he want to bring in that second Man City defender and go for Walker and Benrahma? Now, the first thing I'm noticing immediately that always rings alarm bells in my head, and I know a lot of people watching this video will have very different opinions on this, but it is the double goalkeeper strategy, the rotating goalkeeper strategy, which I just personally, I don't really like it. I think you will find that most of the fairly competitive FPL players these days are not using the double goalkeeper strategy. It kind of was a little bit more popular in years gone by, but I think it's kind of gone out of fashion a little bit. So Sanchez and Ramsdale, I don't even think their fixtures rotate particularly well either. I think that both of them have fairly good fixtures coming up, so you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble some weeks. Which goalkeeper do I pick? And often will be the case that you'll pick the wrong goalkeeper, and the other goalkeeper will outscore your goalkeeper that you're starting, and it's not really worth it for that 0.5 million. You may as well just save that 0.5 million and either bank it or put the rest on your bench. Now, there's some interesting other shouts in here. I do like Cancelo and Rudiger, first of all. Love that. Kieran Tierney as well. Whether I'd want to be doubling up on the Arsenal defence is a slightly different question. I like Semedo as well. I know a lot of people went off of those Wolves assets when they had that one bad game against Brentford, but I do think that those Wolves defenders are definitely players we want to look at, and Semedo looks like the best of them. And Livramento, a fantastic bench option there at 4.1 million. In midfield, we've got Salah and Mbumo, Saka, Grealish and Zaha. Zaha is an interesting one. I just don't know if I fully trust Zaha. I think Zaha is one of the biggest troll players in FPL ever. But aside from that, I really quite like it. And Mbumo's an interesting shout. I may think that that's maybe arguably a slightly too much money on the bench here with the the bench goalkeeper putting money on the bench. You've got Livramento is absolutely fine, but we're talking about probably benching Mbumo most weeks anyway. And if you're going to be benching Mbumo 9 game weeks out of 10, because remember Brentford have some horrible fixtures. If you're going to be benching Mbumo 9 game weeks out of 10, maybe it's worth just downgrading him to a 4.5 million midfielder and maybe a Sissoko or something like that, and just banking the rest of the cash or using it to upgrade elsewhere. Maybe upgrading one of those defenders. Because there's no Trent Alexander-Arnold in here, remember, and I know he's a little bit injured right now, but I do think we're still going to want Trent Alexander-Arnold in the long term, particularly if his injury isn't that bad. If he's only out for a couple of weeks, even on a wildcard team, you're probably going to want to keep him in anyway, but just make sure you can cover him just for that couple of weeks. But aside from that, I love it. Love the strike force. Antonio Jimenez, Lukaku looks beautiful. In general, I really do like this team, but there's just a few things, maybe a little bit too much money on the bench that maybe a lot of you guys might be falling into similar traps, and I don't want you to fall for that one too much. Okay, this team is from FPL Trojan, who does know what they're doing. This is someone who has been around FPL Twitter for a while, so I do know that this person knows what they're doing. However, this is a team where we can only describe this team as huge at the back, enormous at the back. It's giant at the back. We've got Edison, Cancelo, Christensen, Alexander-Arnold, and Azpilicueta all at the back. So it's a 4 at the back formation here. I have some doubts about this because I think this team is meant to operate in a 4-3-3 formation with Rafinha, Salah, and Gallagher in midfield, and then obviously Antonio, Lukaku, and Jimenez up front. Does it have enough on the bench? It's got Livramento, it's got both Brownhill and Sissoko, both pretty weak options. And when we have situations where Christensen is going to be rotated occasionally, is Livramento going to be enough to cover that? Cancelo is going to be rotated occasionally. Azpilicueta is going to be rotated occasionally. Is there enough? Because I do like the big at the back thing, I really do, but there's so much money spent in the defensive positions, and I know the defenders so far have been scoring well. They have been scoring really well, and they've been picking up some really nice scores. But big at the back, when I say big at the back, I mean enormous at the back, especially these 4 at the back formations, they do tend to go out of fashion very quickly. And when you're spending so much money on your goalkeeper, all of these defenders, not leaving anything on the bench, not leaving anything in the bank, you're also finding yourself in a situation where, what if you want to make a transfer? What if I really like Salah, I really like Rafinha, Gallagher's doing really well as well. What if I want to bring in an extra midfielder or something like that? It makes it quite difficult. This structure is just not very flexible. So, if you're going for a 3 big defenders and, a cheaper goalkeeper, I think that's fine. But to go all out this far, it could do okay in the short term, but there's so much risk attached to this. I mean, remember, we're talking about Alexander-Arnold potentially not being in. Is Livramento going to be able to cover that? I don't know. There's just not quite enough here. It's not quite spread out enough. It's not quite balanced enough. Because I know I said I don't like a lot of money on the bench, but there has to be a little bit of compromise here, because when you go for a formation where you've got 2 4.5 million midfielders, you are going to leave yourself with basically nothing on the bench. And that could be a problem when it comes to a little bit of rotation among some of those players. Okay, this team is from Casey. I picked this out because I actually really quite like this team. Guys, if you want to do something similar to this, I wouldn't blame you at all. It is really quite nice, and there's one little differential in there that I'm sure you might have spotted. So, first of all, in goal, Ramsdale's the starting goalkeeper, Foster as a backup. Love it. Absolutely fantastic combo. Can't argue with that at all. We've got Alonso there, who's looking to get some big points and nailed himself on in the team. We've got Rudiger, very nailed on in that Chelsea defence. We've got Cancelo there as well. So you've got a nice 3 defenders there, but you do have that cover with Marçal and Livramento as well. So you've got one, I guess, playing player on the bench there in Marçal, and then you've got Livramento, who technically he is a playing player as well, but he's that super cheap price. Maybe a slightly more expensive. I think that Livramento has obviously been brought in just for this team, so he is at 4.2, but still a really good price for a very regularly starting Southampton defender there. Midfield looks strong. I like it. Salah, Sarr, Rafinha, Saka. Very good midfield. I think we're all eyeing up, Saka's and Rafinha's for this upcoming run of fixtures. Arsenal have some good fixtures. Saka looks nailed on. Rafinha looks brilliant. And Leeds also have some really nice fixtures. Sarah's got this nice fixture coming up. But, perhaps after the Leeds game for Sarr, maybe we could have some problems there. I don't know. Is Sarr someone we want to keep in the long term? I don't know. I'm not fully convinced that Sarr is someone we want to keep in the long term. I think he's kind of one of those streaky players you want to hop on and off because he does play Liverpool in game week. Is it 8 or 9? 8, I think it is. Yeah, so that's going to be tricky, and there's some other tricky fixtures coming up for Watford as well. So that's the only concern I kind of have about Sarr. But yeah, in general, I do really like it. Saka, Rafinha, and Salah, I'm completely sold on. Alonso, Rudiger, and Cancelo in defence, I'm completely sold on. The goalkeepers, I'm sold on. Vardy, Antonio, and Lukaku, I really, really do like it. I don't think this is exactly what I would do, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close because, like I say, I would be opting to keep Trent Alexander-Arnold if I can. We do need to wait and see how bad Alexander-Arnold's injury is. But yeah, looking there, I really like this. Vardy is picking up FPL points and is largely being ignored, particularly by the the players in the higher positions. Not really many people have got Vardy, so it could be a good differential to steal a march on some people, particularly if he keeps performing as he is at the moment. And Antonio and Lukaku, just fantastic picks. Can't go wrong. So this team is from Lebanese, another team who is going for Edison in goal. I think a lot of people are a little bit worried about the maybe a bit of rotation in that Man City defence. But guys, honestly, I really think that Cancelo is nailed on now. I just don't see why you would go for Edison when you can go for Cancelo. Cancelo gets the same points for a clean sheet as Edison does. He costs the same amount, but Cancelo has the ability to get assists, get goals, get bonus points, or much more opportunities to get bonus points anyway. So yeah, I just don't see why you would go for a 6 million goalkeeper when you could just use a 6 million defender instead and swap out one of your 4.5 million defenders, I guess, for a 4.5 million goalkeeper. I think that combination looks far better, to be honest. Begovic, I don't think you really need as a goalkeeper either. I think that's a kind of a bit of a strange one, but aside from that, it's okay. It is okay. I mean, I'm not fully sure where this team is, how it's meant to be set up, to be honest, because if it looks like you're kind of forced to play Tony. I don't think you really want to play Tony too many game weeks. Like I say, Brentford have some pretty poor fixtures. You've not really got cover on the bench there. You've got Mendy, you've got Omar-Bamadeli, and I guess you've got Duffy there as well, which is okay. I guess Duffy is a pretty decent shout for the bench, but I don't know. I don't feel like I'd want to be playing Tony every week, and I kind of feel like Tony has been shoved in there because, this team is desperate to get all of Salah, Lukaku, and Ronaldo in, and as such, there has been some sacrifices. And there's been sacrifice in the Man City defence. There's no Trent Alexander-Arnold. Tony has been forced to come into the team. And remember, you can only captain one of Salah, Lukaku, and Ronaldo at a time. You can't captain them all. So yeah, it seems a strange decision to me to go for all three. I know a lot of you guys want to do it, but I guess this is an example of a team where you could possibly put in Salah, Lukaku, and Ronaldo. I'm not a big fan. Some of you guys might be a big fan of that. This is kind of the team you would have to produce if you were going to do that, making sacrifices in the likes of having someone like Tony, making sacrifices like going for someone slightly cheaper like Gallagher, and also sacrificing your defenders, not having that Man City defender, not having that Liverpool defender in there as well. Now, this team is from FPL Yin Yang, a regular contributor to the 100 Experts videos. So, yeah, this is a really strong team. It is a really strong team. It's got the double goalkeepers, which I don't like, particularly Raya at 4.6 with Brentford's fixtures. When are you going to play him? I feel like, look through the fixtures, see how often you're going to play him. If you're only going to play him sort of like 1 or 2 games over the next 10 game weeks, is there really any point in having him in your team? You may as well save, you'll save 0.6 million by taking him out of your team. So, yeah, an interesting goalkeeper choice. Not really convinced by that one, to be honest. But aside from that, there are some really nice picks. Alonso, Diaz, Azpilicueta, Alexander-Arnold, and Cancelo there is, the super defence. I do quite like the look of that defence, and I think it's going to pick you up lots of points in the long term as well, especially that double Man City defence. That's really super interesting, to be honest. And Trent Alexander-Arnold is covered in this team. I know he's going to be out for a little while. He's going to be covered. Now, the problem kind of does arise in the midfield a little bit, because although we've got Rafinha, Salah and Gallagher as good starting players, do you really want to be playing Smith Rowe every single game? Is Smith Rowe even going to be playing every single game for Arsenal? I don't think so. I think he's going to be rotated with Pepe in that Arsenal team, so I don't know if... I know he's a really good price, and he is a really good price at 5.3 million, but as a player that you're going to have to regularly start... I don't exactly know, because at the end of the day, Alexander-Arnold is not going to be available. Are we going to be going to a kind of a 4-3-3 formation a lot of the time? It looks like you kind of would, and maybe the money's a little bit spread if you did want to make some good transfer moves. If you wanted to pick up an extra, 6.57 million midfielder, for example, it's going to be very difficult to do that. If you want to move to, Jimenez, or, a 7.58 million forward for San Maximan, again, you're going to struggle to do that. You're not really going to want to take out Antonio or Lukaku. They're kind of set and forget players in many ways. But yeah, there are things I like about this team. There's also things that I'm not so keen on. Mostly the spread of cash with, I guess, Target and Smith Rowe. Not fully convinced. I think if you just change down Target to maybe a Duffy or someone like that, or a Livramento, I think that's a really good option to go for there. You can upgrade Smith Rowe using the money. Take out Raya as well. Again, you can upgrade Smith Rowe using that money. You can get a Ben Rama in there or someone like that. Maybe Sarr if you want to go for him and you trust his form to accomplish over the fixtures. Then you can do something like that. That's kind of where I would be looking to improve this team. Okay, this team is from FPL Goatlinton, and please do excuse the format. I don't think Goatlinton has actually played his wildcard yet, which is absolutely fine, but this is what he's looking to do. Mendy in goal. I think this is why I picked out this team, because Mendy in goal is interesting. I know a lot of people will be thinking, oh, well, we'll go for Mendy because Mendy's the most nailed on player. Is he though? Is he really? We've already seen Mendy kind of been rotated for Kepa so far this season. So, yeah, I don't know if we'd necessarily want to be going for Mendy with no backup. Yeah, it's a lot of money for a goalkeeper, 6 million, especially if they're not nailed. I don't know. Again, I would stick to the 4.5s and bring in an extra Chelsea defender. Pick a more nailed goalkeeper, pick up an extra Chelsea defender, and then that's absolutely fine. You've got Duffy and Livramento there, two super cheap defenders. You could upgrade one of them potentially to another Chelsea defender. Maybe a Christensen is a good as a kind of a backup Chelsea defender. I quite like the look of them. Something like that could be quite easily done, but I do like the the fact that Trent stays in the team, and he can be covered as well with some of those other options in defence there. Into midfield, and it's looking pretty strong with Salah, Grealish, Rafinha and Gallagher, but I do feel like going for Grealish has meant that there's been a bit of sacrifice with Tony. Tony is, he's having to be in this team. I know he's in good form, but I mean, is he even in amazing form? He's in okay form, pretty decent form, but the fixtures that are coming up, I don't like it. I don't like it, to be honest. I think that Brentford are going to struggle over the next course of games. Tony has kind of, he's one of the goals he scored was a penalty, of course. So how many penalties are Brentford going to get realistically? Not that many. I don't think they're going to score a huge amount of goals. Tony is an okay pick, but I just think we can do better. And there's just not much flexibility around that price point either, I don't think. Or maybe you feel differently. I don't know. I think a lot of people will just look at Tony's recent scores and say he must be a good pick, but I'm still not convinced by him, to be completely honest. Danny Ings is just a strange pick, but fair enough. If that's what you want to go for, then fair enough. I do acknowledge that Aston Villa have been doing quite well recently, but is Ings the player to go for? Not sure. 7.9 million, a lot of money. Ings has not quite been giving us everything that we hoped from him so far. Even Watkins, I think, has been performing slightly better than Ings since he came into the team. So, not sure about that one. On a wild card, you've got an opportunity to take out players like Tony, Ings, Brownhill, players like that. So, use this as an opportunity to get rid, really, I would say. So this team is from Minimal FPL, and I think that this is my favourite triple premium team I've seen. So out of all the teams I've seen that have got 3 premium assets, Salah, Lukaku and Ronaldo, those are the 3 guys you're targeting. This has been the one that I kind of looked at and thought, actually, this could be a lot worse. This is not too bad because we've got normal goalkeeper, just a Sanchez in goal. We've got Cancelo and Rudiger, so we've got both Man City and Chelsea's defence covered there. We haven't got Trent Alexander-Arnold, so that is one thing. But if Trent's out for a long while, this team is just going to be, really, really nice. We've got White and Cody there, potentially Livramento. All 3 of those can rotate for that 3rd defensive slot, depending on fixtures. Love it. And we've got kind of Salah, Rafinha, Saka and Decore, a really nice midfield that I really like. Potentially Decore, if there's a difficult game, you can opt to play 4 at the back instead. You can, play both White and Cody, or, White and Livramento, or something like that. That would work absolutely fine. And, of course, up front, we've got Lukaku, Antonio and Ronaldo, which I think we would all agree is if there was, unlimited budget budget, those would be the 3 forwards we'd probably all have in our FPL team. So, in a way, it's the perfect front line. Again, I do want to reiterate that I'm not a huge fan of the 3 premiums. Like I say, you can only captain one of them at a time, and the captaincy is what really makes that premium player really worth their money. It's the fact that you can captain them, so you get double the amount of value for money for them. And when you've got so many, who's going to be captained? Is Ronaldo realistically going to be captained at any point over the next, I guess, 6, 7, 8 game weeks? Probably not too often, to be honest, unless there's a really nice run of form that Ronaldo just goes on an insane goal streak or something like that. He's arguably at the beginning of that already. So, yeah, I kind of get it. I get it, don't get me wrong, because there's a FOMO of not having Salah, Lukaku and Ronaldo. You can't have all 3, or it feels often like you can't have all 3. If I were to go with all 3, I would do a team very, very similar to this. I really do like this. But my favourite team of the lot, I think, has to go to this team from FPL Cyclist. Out of all the teams I was sent, this one I actually really, really like. It's got the 2 premiums I like, Lukaku and Salah. Those are the 2 players I'd be going for on a wildcard, absolutely. It's got Alonso and Cancelo, the 2, premium defenders that I really like. It's got Trent Alexander-Arnold still in there, covered by White and Livramento in the short term. Ramsdale as the goalkeeper, Foster as the backup. Love that so much. And we've got a decent midfield in there in Rafinha, Gray, Sarr and Smith Rowe, which can be rotated. I know Smith Rowe, because he's kind of 5.3 million, he's not that super expensive player. He is a player who's going to be rotated in and out. So there's a little bit of rotation there. And also, not just the fact that, there's a little bit on the bench, because there is a little bit on the bench. We've got Livramento as your baseline cheap player. We've kind of got Ben White who can sit on the bench or cover Trent in the short term as well there. And we've got Smith Rowe, who is not too much money on the bench. At 5.3 million, it's not an insane amount of money on the bench in total. When you think Livramento, Ben White and Smith Rowe, there's not too much money on the bench at all. And Cyclist has actually got a little bit of money spare in the bank as well whilst making this team. So, we can talk about upgrading Gray or Sarr or whoever else. They can be upgraded as well. And I just think, having that, primarily you'd have Ramsdale, Alonso, Cancelo, Trent Alexander-Arnold. You'd have in midfield Salah, Rafinha, Gray and Sarr. And then up front you could have Lukaku, Antonio and Jimenez, those 3 players. And you can rotate just a little bit. You can upgrade with that money in that 1.1 million at the bank just a little bit. You can upgrade a Gray, you can upgrade a Sarr, you can do something like that. You could potentially take down Smith Rowe if you wanted to at some point to maybe a cheaper player if you really, really desperately needed to free up some funds. It's not ideal, but Smith Rowe is that really nice cover on the bench, particularly with Arsenal's really nice fixtures. And it's weird, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so please don't get me wrong. I'm not liking this team because there's triple Arsenal. You guys who watch my videos regularly will know I pretty much have a rule on my own team that I never have Arsenal players because I just don't trust them at all. So, usually I am opposite of bias towards Arsenal players, but this team, yes, it has 3 Arsenal players, but 2 of them are mostly going to be on the bench when Trent Alexander-Arnold is fit anyway. But overall, it's just really nice. Alonso and Cancelo, if they get benched, they're covered. I like it. It's a really nice spread of money and without putting too much money on the bench. Yeah, this team is the favourite one I've seen. And guys, if you are on a wildcard right now, try and make something similar to this because this is absolutely wicked, like genuinely. So that is the end of the video, the second upload of today. Make sure you like the video and subscribe if you're new around here, if you enjoyed the 2 videos in one day. Do go check out Surfshark, of course, and big thanks to those for sponsoring the video. Really, really appreciated. Help support the channel and stuff like that when you guys go click on the link. So go for it by all means. And yeah, the next couple of days, we're not going to do any more double uploads this week. I'm a little bit, I guess, worn out really. Yeah, so we're gonna do I'm gonna make my own wildcard team, which I don't know if I'm gonna use or not, probably not, but I might. And then finally we're gonna do our final team selection video on Friday. So yeah, team selection videos yet to come this week. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you later, mates. Bye bye.